reality, Mr. Copeland, is the 25K on someone's head was completely made up by you, correct?
Right.
The reality is there's somebody from Bankhead with some money, those details, somebody from Bankhead with money, that was completely made up, correct?
Right.
The reality is someone from Johnson Road being hired, and you would recognize their name if you heard it. All that was made up, on the spot, on the fly, in the mind of Kenneth Copeland, wasn't it?
Right.
That was you finessing. Just like Lil Mike and Quez were made up on the spot. The man from Bankhead with money, the man from Johnson Road, were made up characters.
I done told y'all 100 times I don't lie. You sitting right here keep trying to throw it in my face. I don't admit it till I lied.
I'm not trying to throw it in your face, Mr. Copeland. I'm giving you an opportunity to come clean.
Welcome back to the channel. What is going on with the Going Zone with the dream teams of lawyers? We're going to start off today with Youngthug's lawyer. He slowly brings Woody in and have Woody being relaxed, and then we go to the next lawyer. So let's get straight into it. Please hit the like button, please subscribe, and please comment below. Thank you for tuning in.
Man, when I got locked up, man, I was just trying to see whatever got them to get these people to let me go. And shit, so I said backfired on. At the end of the day, shit, they know it ain't nothing but some bullshit. That's why they putting it out there like this. Nah, man, shit. I said that these people been coming at me, trying everything to get me to say, okay, I
know that.
Copeland, can you tell the jurors who, in relation to you, were we speaking with on that call?
My sister and a friend.
Okay. And during that call, did you hear your voice, yourself, explain that you blame yourself for thinking that you have all the sense, but it backfired on you, that they are doing it intentionally, it don't make you testify, and you say you can't talk on the phone, but you don't remember what was in the video. You said when you got locked up, you were saying anything to get them to let you go. It backfired on you, and it's nothing but BS. You say the word, and that's what they're putting out there. Did you hear all that?
Yes.
You mentioned in the last recording that the jurors heard, as well as this recording, there's a lot of talk about a video. Do you know what I'm referring to? There's a lot of talk about the video getting attention. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Yes.
Tell the jurors what you are referring to on your calls that we just heard.
That interrogation footage video.
And was it one of the ones that we saw, or the jurors saw in this courtroom before the Honorable Judge Whitaker?
Yes.
And when you say, when you're talking and your friend is saying, you know, people are talking about it, you heard all those conversations, right?
Yes.
Do you know who put that video on the internet during this, before this trial started?
I don't know who did it.
Do you have a belief who did it?
Yes.
And who are you referring to who did that?
Objection. Relevant to we believe.
Goes to a state of mind.
Speculation.
Goes to a state of mind on the conversations that you're referring to. It puts it in context.
Oh,
Who do you believe put out the videos on the internet of your interrogation, or the video?
The state.
And by the state, the same people you've been referring to?
I can't say specific if it was them, but the state did it.
Okay. And what did that have an effect on you or your family when you believe the state of Georgia put out your interrogation?
Well, they believe I be, if everybody say I'm a snitch and this and then third, they believe that I'd be like, okay, and just do what they want me to do.
And is that, there was a mention in the last recording that your friend was saying, or your sister, we're getting a lawyer, they put us in harm's way. Was that a lawyer for what?
To go out to the state.
For putting that video out?
Yes. To see who put it out.
Okay.
But now, listen, bro. When I told that motherfucker they wasting their time, bro, that lady looked like she wanted to get on her knees and beg me, please, bro. I just looked at her like, man, get out my face, like, you know what I mean?
A lady? It was a lady?
The one who be in court, in the courtroom, the deputy, DA.
Oh, that main one?
Yeah, like, it was, man, she like,
Yeah.
I guess they just determined, like, I'm like, man, listen, man, I made all this shit up, man. They trying to talk my way out of jail, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
man, the motherfucker look at me like, and I asked her, like, shit, what you want me to say? What, we just want to know how it is going on. I didn't go, man, I'm from a whole nother neighborhood, like, but I ain't even, I'm just like, I looked at her like, man, this shit, y'all wasting y'all time. You know what I mean? Because I heard motherfuckers like, when they gonna try to talk to my attorney, and then he come back. I said, y'all be coming back for what? Y'all wasting y'all time. Y'all might go find somebody else. She turned around, like, she not just closing the door like you could have leave.
Yeah.
The motherfucker closing doors for 3 times, opening it back up like I'm gonna change my mind. Like, man,
Yeah.
yes. I done did 5 years. I done did 51 months in this bitch. And I've been doing goddamn so much time in this damn state. Yeah.
How long you been locked up so far? Damn.
15 months.
Boy, God damn. Oh, that's it, 15 months? That's
Yeah,
it seems like longer than that, boy.
Now because I did 14 months, got out for 3 months, and then now I've been locked up 15 months.
You have 1 minute left.
Mr. Copeland, can you tell the jurors, just orient them, what relation was the people that we heard besides your voice on the recording?
My sister and a friend.
Okay. And the friend this time is a man. Sound like a man's voice, is that accurate?
Yes.
Did you hear you explain that you've made people mad and that they feel like you feel like you made them shake their tail? When you first got locked up, they offered you a year in jail. You turned them down, and now your lawyer has told them not to contact you at all. And then all of a sudden, the video of the interrogation pops up. Do you remember hearing that?
I said, chase their tail.
Chase their tail. Okay. And who are the they that you're talking about when you say you think you made them mad?
Say that again?
Who is the they? Who is they when you say you think that you made them mad or chase their tail? Who are
The
you?
police.
And then at 10:05 on JW 250D, as in David, did you hear yourself say that people failed to realize that if you look up what was said, nobody was charged with what you said? Do you remember hearing that?
Yes.
What were you referring to on that?
The 2015 interrogation.
And it's now February 21, 2023.
This year?
No, when this call was made, February 21,
Oh.
2023, so a year and a half ago, maybe. Is that what you're referring to?
And they called?
The length of time?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you remember hearing the same statement at the 10:05 that you would say anything? Your main thing was you were saying thug and was trying to let you go, trying to get them to let you go. And you said that if you would let go, you were out of there, but they weren't going for it. Do you remember hearing that?
Yes.
Do you remember a little later you said that it is crazy that people don't pay attention. If you wanted to tell, you could have easily told if you had something to tell. You remember hearing that?
Yes.
Do you remember hearing at 17:20 that you explained that you told them people that they're wasting their time, and the lady acted like she wanted to get on her knees and beg and plead? You said you told them to get out of your face, and then the man asked which lady. Do you remember that?
Miss Love.
And then you said on the recording, the deputy DA. That's who you just pointed to?
Miss Love.
And you said you told them, Miss Love, that you made it all up trying to talk your way out of jail. Is that what you said on the recording?
Miss Love.
You told her that?
Yes.
Back in February 21 of 2023 and before that?
When she came to see me at jail.
And then she wouldn't leave, and you said, what does she want you to say? Remember saying that?
Huh?
You asked her, meaning District Attorney Love, what does she want you to say? Remember hearing that?
Yes.
And then you said that they asked about how it was growing up, and you said, I didn't grow up with them. You're from a whole different neighborhood. Did you hear that?
Yes.
And you told Deputy District Attorney Love that she and the others are wasting their time.
Yes.
Who else was with Miss Love?
Miss Hilton and the big guy, the big investigator. I can't think of his name right now. Long.
Investigator Long, the district attorney's office?
Yeah, I think that might be his name.
Okay.
But the big police, the whatever he is.
Okay. And you told Miss Love, Miss Hilton, and who you believe is investigator or police officer Long to go find someone else that they're wasting their time. Did you hear that on the recording?
Yes.
And that did happen?
Yes.
And you said that the door, that she opened the door 3 times like you were going to change your mind. Who are you referring to?
Miss Love.
And when you say open the door, just tell the jurors, like, what kind of room are you in?
A small room.
Were you allowed to go in and out of the room on your own?
I was in jail.
So who was going in and out of the room like 3 times, opening the door?
No, she wasn't going in and out. They were leaving. I was complaining about my court. Every time I had to go to court, they weren't coming to get me to take me to court. So they kept holding me in jail, and I missed my court, and they give me another court date, another month, like a month away. So she asked me who my lawyer was, that she was gonna reach out to my lawyer and try to get them to get me in court. So if they were to help me get in court, would I cooperate? I said, get me in court and we'll see.
You wanted to get out of jail?
Yes.
Did you ever hide the fact from the district attorney's office or the police once you were in federal custody that everything you said was just to get out of jail? It was not true, it was a lie?
I don't understand it.
Okay. Once, I think you said, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you said once June 10, 2015, the interrogation that we've watched with the jurors, after that date,
Yes.
you go over to federal custody at Lovejoy
Yes.
Detention Center. You get charged with murder of Donovan Thomas in October 2015.
Yes.
You then go before Judge Totenberg, federal Judge Totenberg, in,
Yes.
in Northern District, Georgia, receive 60 months in custody.
Well, actually, I fought my case for 40 months because the lawyers who I had representing me over there kept telling me that the prosecutor wanted to talk to me and they wouldn't fight for me, so I had to write letters to the judge, ask for new lawyers. So I had to fire 2 lawyers because I kept telling them I didn't want to talk to them. I made it up. And then I didn't trust them. So it took me 2 years to find one. And then they gave me a 3rd lawyer. And when I got her, I just told her I want to plead guilty at this point because I've been in there for so long.
And when you said you wrote to the judge, you're talking about the Honorable Judge Totenberg,
Yes.
and you had what's called appointed lawyers. Some people say public defenders. Is that true?
They call them federal defenders.
Yes, sir. And they're They don't cost anything. They're great lawyers who don't cost anything, but they're assigned to people who can't afford a lawyer. Is that your understanding?
Yes, they're free.
Did Jeffrey Williams ever pay in any of your court, any? You have a lot of court appearances. Did he ever pay for any of your lawyers?
No.
With regards to that time that you were going through Judge Totenberg to get the third lawyer for 40 months and then you pled guilty to 60 months, which is 5 years, right?
Yes.
You made it known to the district attorney's office of Fulton County through your lawyer that you made all of this up. Did you lie?
I didn't talk to the district attorney when I was in the federal over there. It was the federal U.S. attorney kept telling my attorney that she wanted to talk to me.
And that you made it clear to the United States Attorney's Office, a lawyer for federal prosecutors, that this was all made up.
Well, the first lawyer tricked me down there. He tricked me into a profit. When I got in there, I seen all the police that locked me up. I was like, what the hell is this? And then they were like, they gonna step out. So they stepped out so I could talk to him. And I was like, bro, what is this? He's like, well, they feel leave you. You can help them with some information. I said, I don't got no information for them. You know what I mean? I said, I lied and made this up. You know what I mean? Try to convince myself out of it, and now I'm in the feds.
So immediately after June 10th, 2015, consistently you said this is all a lie.
Right.
And you told the authorities, whether federal or state police, district attorney's office.
Yeah, it was just they were like, contact your lawyer when you're ready to cooperate.
And this case in Fayette County that you were being held on, that's a Fulton County case, correct?
Yes.
How long were you in jail total till you can dispose of your Fulton County case that you were held in Fayette County?
Which one?
The one more recent, 2022, 2023.
You said how long was I locked up?
Yeah.
I lost count.
And you just couldn't get into court?
Huh?
You just couldn't get into court?
Every time I had to go to court, they weren't coming to get me.
Was it made clear to you that you can get out of jail immediately if you just adopt your lies from 2015?
I don't know what you asked.
That's a bad question. Okay, let's forget that. Did you make it? Was it made clear to you by District Attorney Hilton, District Attorney Love, or other people with this state that you can get out of jail at any time if you cooperated with them by saying what you said in 2015 was true?
I don't get what you're asking.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to go on to a different topic. I'm very focused, obviously, on Jeffrey Williams. You know I represent him.
You say you what?
I represent Jeffrey Williams, right?
Right.
I just want to make clear, when you told in that interview on June 10, 2015, when you said that Mr. Garlington told you that Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Shannon Stillwell were in the vehicle that shot at and killed Donovan Thomas, was that true or is that part of this lie?
Yeah, I told him I made it up. He never told me they did it.
Are you down to burn the country? I'm on lockdown, so they don't let me out one time a day. But my brother now did. You just when he hang up, please go call his brother, and I'm meet his brother so he can get his money. Is your brother gonna? Nah, his brother gonna sign it. Yeah, Dijon, where you at?
I'm at home.
You don't got no ride.
I can get your brother to bring me.
Meet me on University.
On University where?
That gas station we always do. You know what that gas station? Chevron. Meet me at Chevron. Hey man.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, you ain't right, bro. What did D do? I'm gonna say too much, bro.
The D told what's that?
You talking about rock, good rock, D? Yeah.
So, he told on Roscoe too. You think I'm fucking playing, bro. He told on Roscoe. He told on Roscoe just like he Roscoe ain't no fucking blood. And he don't give a fuck. Roscoe ain't free. Hey, D-Shot come up and come meet you so you can get that money. Go and pay Woody Boy so you can get out, bro. And when you get out, Woody, I need to have a serious talk to you, so I really feel some type of way. I'm gonna talk to you about it so you get out.
Man, listen, man, don't start this shit, man.
I ain't playing with you. I ain't fucking playing with you either. God's fucking birthday on the way. Fuck wrong with you.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Tell you, bro, I love him too, bro.
He hear you.
You gotta get this motherfucking mind together.
He said you gotta get your mind together, bro, cause you been tripping.
Man, how, bro? I been left out there alone, bro. I ain't had nobody, bro. I just feel like nigga left me out there. I ain't did shit.
You ain't left out there alone. You just want to be out there tripping. Bro, we ain't fucked up no more. You ain't gotta be hanging out there in Canada.
Shit, I had no choice.
That way gonna get you time. Canada. Out there in them apartments. I keep telling you that.
Were you able to hear that?
Yes.
Okay. And that, if you recognize the voice, that's the voice of Jeffrey's sister. You know her, I believe, is Max. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And she said that she got a bond and you had a $15,000 bond through a bonding company.
Yes.
And that she would meet Mr. Sean Quarterman at the university.
Yes.
To help you, I guess, your family, you, to secure money for a bond. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And when you go through a bonding company, if you're familiar, do you know how much percentage, if you know, I don't know.
10%.
So $1,500?
Yes.
You know how much money was actually given, if you know?
I heard it say 700.
Okay, so half.
Yes.
Half the money needed for bond. All right, and then Jeffrey's sister say you have a birthday coming up and she has to have a serious talk with you?
My little girl birthday was coming up.
I'm sorry. Okay. Did you hear that?
Yes.
And then did you hear Jeffrey say, and it was faint, but you said that tell Jeffrey you love him. He said, I love you too. You got to get your mind together. You are tripping. Did you hear that?
Yes.
And then you hear Max, the sister, say, not effed up no more. You got to get out of the streets. Did you hear all that?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to go with you the Infinity, August 12th, 2024, questioning by Miss Hilton of Mr. Copeland, and it's from the live feed, Your Honor. It's a short clip. And just listen to this, and if it's wrong, just correct it.
I was only protecting him.
So when you told the detective about what happened the night of Donovan Thomas's murder, were you protecting Threat?
Yes, I was gonna keep Threat name out of it as much as possible.
Did Threat have something to do with Donovan Thomas's murder?
I don't know what Threat got something to do with it, but I know that they was the last person I gave that car to.
What car?
The car, the Infinity car. And I wasn't gonna say nothing about it.
What Infinity car did you give the Threat?
The Infinity car that I had.
Okay. Is this the same car that you went to the rental car place with Thug and Thug rented the Infinity?
I'm talking about the great Infinity car that me and Zachary was riding in. I rigged the car, put up on Threat, gave the car to Threat, and I left.
Okay. Is this the same Infinity that you told police that you went to the Hertz rental car place with Thug when he rented the Infinity?
I just told you that I gave Threat that car.
Mr. Copeland, that's not what she asked. So listen to what she asked and then answer that as best you can.
You're saying you gave Threat that Infinity. Is that what you're saying?
Hold on 1 second. Y'all just confused me. What you say, Young?
Well, I wanted this person to ask the question clearly and you listen to it and answer it. So ask the question you asked him a minute ago if that's what you want the answer to.
The infinity that you're talking about, is that the infinity that you went to the Atlanta airport with Thug when he rented the infinity?
What you asked me?
You're talking about an infinity that you gave the threat, correct?
Right.
The infinity that you're referring to, is that the infinity that you went to the Atlanta airport with Thug when he rented the infinity?
Yes.
Okay. And that was the car that Thug rented, correct?
I asked him to rent me a car, and I read the car, and I gave the car the threat.
When did you give the car the threat?
That same night I read it. The night before that happened.
For what happened?
The same night it happened. I can't remember. I gave the car the threat and I left.
Where did you give the car the threat at?
At the studio.
What studio?
I pulled up and gave it to him and pulled it right out.
What studio?
It was by Northside Drive, Marietta. It was one of them streets.
Was there anyone else at the studio when you gave the car?
I didn't go in the studio. I pulled up. I was pulling up, and I seen threat. I gave threat the car, jumped out of the car, it got in my called my brother to come get me.
And was this the day Donovan Thomas died? Was this a few days before? In relation to when Donovan Thomas died, when did you get threat this vehicle?
I gave threat the car. I read the car, gave it a threat.
So when you wrecked the car, why would you give threat a wrecked vehicle?
So I got, to me, it wasn't damaged bad. I don't know. I hit something on it, and then the thing on the cover, it was tripping. So when I pulled up, I wasn't giving it to threat, but I just seen him standing outside. I was like, he's like, what you gotta do? I'm like, him just get your key real fast like that. Gave threat the car, and I dipped. I don't know if it was late, so when I woke up the next day, I came outside, and this when I heard what happened.
Okay.
Your aunt stopped at 451, I believe. In January, on January 7th of 2015, when that Infinity rental car was rented at the Atlanta airport, Mr. Copeland, did you have a credit card that you could at that time rent a car?
I don't even have a driving license.
Okay. Now, can you tell the jurors, and if you can't do it, just say I'm not good at distance. What is the driving distance, if you can do it, from where Donovan Thomas was shot to the Green store? Can you give the jurors an idea of how close or how far that is?
$5 minutes.
Okay. Now, I want to talk with you about the night of Donovan Thomas's shooting. Eventually that evening, is it true that you're at Jeffrey Williams' home?
I didn't hear you.
Were you at Jeffrey Williams' home at all after Donovan Thomas's shooting later that night or early the next morning, before you went to the police department?
I was all over the place.
Okay. Do you personally know whether Sprinter vans were already summoned to come and pick people up that evening to take them down to Miami for Jeffrey Williams to perform and do shows and work in the studio? And if you don't know, just say, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time we went with him, it just be like spare of the moment.
Okay. When you went to Miami, not the night of Donovan Thomas's killing, not the next day, but the next day, and if you don't remember or I'm wrong, just correct me. You went with Miss Quarterman, Deshaun Quarterman, and your child. Is that true?
To my wedding, when I went to Miami?
Yes, sir. After Donovan Thomas's shooting, a couple of days later.
Yes. It was just me, my baby mama, and my little girl.
And do you remember if you flew to Miami or you drove?
We had to drive because I don't think I ever caught a plane with her.
Okay. And do you know how you got there? Meaning, did somebody drive you like in a Sprinter van or another vehicle, or did you have a car access to you, or do you know?
I can't remember how we drove down there, but I know we drove down there. I don't know if it was a Sprinter or a van. I can't remember how I got down there.
Okay. And is it true that immediately after Donovan Thomas was, God forbid, killed, that your family, you and your family's homes and persons were being shot at?
What do you mean?
You left the Atlanta, Georgia area for safety. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
The
And
detective told me to leave.
and was it Detective Thorpe? Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay. And did Jeffrey give you any money for that trip and pay for anything, a hotel room, anything like that?
No.
Did Jeffrey ever give you any money, ever, for committing a crime for him?
I never committed a crime for him.
That was my next question. Okay. You had a lot of contact, it appears, what the jurors heard with Detective Gaither, Detective Thorpe. It was just telephone calls. You could text them, they could text you, they could call you. Is that fair to say? Before, obviously, June 11th, 2015, before you got incarcerated and continually for 50,
Yes.
60 months, 51 months. Have the prosecutor and police ever showed you any recordings of any of those calls that you had with them, besides the interrogations that we had?
My first time ever seeing these two was doing this trial right here. I never talked to nobody outside of these two right here.
Okay, and when these two, you mean Miss Hilton, Miss Love?
Yes.
I'm talking, and I appreciate that, I'm talking about Detective Gaither, Detective Thorpe, and all those communications, Detective Dennis. Did anyone ever show you, let you listen to any of the recordings that you had with them? Anytime, every time that you met with them? Did you ever have that outside of these video, audio?
No.
Did you ever see a report that was showing you, hey, you said this on this date?
No.
Go with you, the Infinity. Also on that jail call, you heard, let me just go back to that jail call in State's Exhibit 295 what? Did you hear you say that little D is tripping? Did you hear something like that?
Yes.
And then Max said something like, he told on, I know him as Mr. Winfrey, but Roscoe, I think, is the name used. If I'm wrong, just correct me.
I heard it.
Okay. Did Jeffrey say anything about that?
I didn't hear him say nothing.
Okay. Now, I want to go back to the infinity. You made it clear when being questioned by Miss Hilton that infinity that you asked Jeffrey to rent it for you. Do you remember saying that?
I didn't hear you.
You didn't hear me?
No.
When Miss Hilton was asking you questions, you made it clear that infinity, the infinity vehicle, was rented. You asked Jeffrey to rent it for you. Do you remember testifying that way?
Like this time?
Yeah.
I don't get what. Just ask me what you're asking.
Do you remember explaining, and I'm just asking for the truth, but do you remember explaining when when Miss Hilton was standing here asking you questions, do you remember explaining that the infinity, that you asked Jeffrey to rent the infinity for you? Do you remember saying that? If you don't, that's fine.
Yes.
And do you remember explaining that infinity was yours, that was for you, that Jeffrey did a favor? You remember explaining that?
I said we just get it anytime we want it.
Did you make it, was it made clear to you by District Attorney Hilton, District Attorney Love, or other people with this state that you can get out of jail at any time if you cooperated with them by saying what you said in 2015 was true?
I don't get what you're asking.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to go on to a different topic. I'm very focused, obviously, on Jeffrey Williams. You know I represent him.
You say you what?
I represent Jeffrey Williams, right?
Right.
I just want to make clear, when you told in that interview on June 10th, 2015, when you said that Mr. Garlington told you that Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Shannon Stillwell were in the vehicle that shot at and killed Donovan Thomas, was that true, or is that part of this lie?
Yeah, I told him I made it up. He never told me they did it.
And you made that clear to the authorities as well?
I can't recall if I told them that, but I can't afford to tell them I made it up.
Now, as you can hear, Young Thug's lawyer, Attorney Steele, has calmed Woody down. He has cleared Young Thug of murder, and as well, he has prosecuted the state. So let's keep it going. We're going to get straight into Yak's attorney and how he does. Let's keep it going.
Let's talk about finessing the police. Okay? I think you've heard the word, I'm just going to say it once, you've heard the word bullshit a bunch the past couple of days.
Right.
So we'll just say BS. Is that basically what you were telling the police, BS?
Yes.
So you're a bullshit artist, you're a BS artist. At
As
the
you
time.
can see.
I'm sorry.
I said, as you can see.
Okay. Or at least you were several years ago, correct?
And I told him that.
Okay. And you would stay at a jail to help yourself because you didn't want to be in there, correct?
Right.
And you wanted to stay at a jail to help your family, your girlfriend, your daughter, correct?
To protect them.
To protect them.
Yes.
Okay. And again, you'd say anything to stay at a jail so you could protect them. So when you said that you heard things from Mr. Garlington, from Lil D, about what them guys shot Thug, that was a lie, correct?
It was.
And about Yak being a driver, that was a lie, correct?
It was.
When you would tell these lies, I think you testified earlier that what you would do is sprinkle in like a few grains of truth in the lie. Is that correct?
It's the only way you can be convincing.
Can you explain to the jury that technique that you would use?
All right. You hear stuff, you know what's true, and you know what's not true. So you take this right here and put it with that right there.
And you would, have you finished your answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one? I'm going to details?
Well, no, I think that's a good description. Unless you want to go into more detail, you're free to do that.
I'm trying to get out of here, so I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you too much longer either. So, again, those things that you said were lies about Yak. The reality is that you told the prosecutors, these two prosecutors here on my left, you told them before June 7th of this year that what you had told the police, what you told those detectives in 2015 was a lie.
I told them when they came to see me that, yes.
And you told them on June 7th it was a lie. June 7th of this year. That was that Friday.
I don't know. When y'all go to using dates,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say what date, but I told them.
And the date I'm referring to, if this helps you at all, is that first Friday that you came to court here on this case. You told them it was a lie on that date.
I can't say what I told them. I can't say what date.
Okay. And after they sent you away to jail for the weekend, and you came back on that Monday, you told them it was a lie, that you had lied back in 2015 as well, correct?
I don't understand it.
Okay. Well, I'll take that question back. All right. I don't want to confuse you.
All right.
Okay. I recall earlier in your testimony, you said something to the effect, and these aren't your exact words, but you said, my hand to God, you're telling the truth now. What you said back in 2015 was a lie. Do you remember saying that?
And I still am saying it.
That what you're saying on the stand today is the truth.
Yes.
Now, Yak's attorney, he came peacefully, and Woody had his guard down, and he answered the questions. He was also able to clear his client. Next up is Yui's attorney. Let's see what he's working with. Let's keep it going.
Right?
On Bankhead.
On Bankhead. And that is probably about 20 plus minutes from Cleveland Avenue, right?
Probably yeah.
It's about that same distance, or give or take a little bit more, a little bit less, from Mechanicsville, right?
Right.
And it's a barbecue spot, right?
Yeah, they sell barbecue food.
When you all went to that barbecue spot, it was in broad daylight, right?
Yes.
Went there for some food, right?
Yes.
I'm going to show you this photograph, and I want to talk about it. State's going to pull it up. Now, you've not known Mr. Huey that very long, correct?
Probably a couple months.
Okay. And you were at this particular restaurant with Mr. Huey and Nard on this particular day. And in this photograph, I want to talk with you about it. In the photograph, someone wrote, you can tell us whether it was you, I am this. Do you see this photograph here?
Yes, I see it.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about it. Is that you in the middle?
Yes.
And this is at Mr. Pig's Smokehouse in Donnelly Hollowell?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you have your hands together. Is that correct?
Yes.
It looks like it's a symbol of you praying. Is that correct?
It is.
Okay. On your clothing, is there anything that suggests YSL on it?
No.
Do you see the person to your right in that photograph? Is that Mr. Huey in that photograph?
With the white t-shirt?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Let's look at Mr. Huey. take a look at his t-shirt. Do you see anything written on his shirt? Anything YSL on it?
It's a white t-shirt.
Okay. Let's look around his neck. Do you see any fancy jewelry around his neck?
No.
Do you see any bracelets on the arms that you do see?
No.
Any rings or anything of that nature?
No.
On this particular day, do you see, or did you have in your waistband a handgun?
No.
To your knowledge, did you see, or Mr. Huey have a handgun on him?
No.
How about this person, Nard? Did you see him with any type of handguns on that day?
No.
Were you all meeting there to do a crime or anything of that nature?
No, we were chilling the whole day.
Okay. Now, any AKs, any rifles or anything in the background in this photograph?
Huh?
Any picture, any weapons?
No.
On this particular building, do you see any signs or symbols, any graffiti with YSL or anything of that nature?
No.
Now, you said y'all were just chilling that day. Were you, nothing about this photograph is suggesting that you all are asking anyone to participate in any type of YSL gang or anything of that nature, is there?
YSL ain't the game.
Okay. And I see on this particular photograph, it says, "I am the streets," out now on all platforms. Tell this jury what is "I am the streets."
The title of my music.
So, and is this 725 Woody, that was your Instagram moniker at that time?
But it was ran by my management team.
Gotcha. And was this particular picture, was it kind of celebrating the release of your music?
I think I was in, I don't know when this picture was posted, but I remember taking it, but that ain't no caption that I put on there.
Okay. And tell the jury, when you had your hands together like that, what were you representing, or what was the message you were sending with your hands together like that?
Peace.
Now, on this document that we're looking at, on this photograph, at the bottom it says "Free the Guys." Can you tell the jury if you know what was that about, or what that represented?
That we was incarcerated, or that at least one of us was incarcerated.
Okay. And was there anything in your mind criminal or wrong about saying "Free the Guys"?
Well, I don't know who posted it. So on my page, if there was posted on my page.
Okay. It's not something you posted.
I didn't have a phone in jail, so no.
And to the best of your knowledge, on this particular day that you all met, sounds like I'm hearing you to say is that y'all aren't doing anything but chilling.
Right.
Nothing more, nothing less.
This all we do. We
not meeting up to commit any crimes.
Never. I was doing the music, focus on the music. That was it.
The clothing that you're wearing there, I noticed here, these particular jeans, there's red on the jeans there. Is that the way those jeans are made?
Yes.
Does it represent anything to do with any type of gang or anything of that nature?
No, that's how I bought them. It's a broken heart.
Broken heart.
On my pants lid, yeah.
Gotcha.
I actually still got the pants.
Okay. And is it fair to say that you guys are relatively neatly dressed urban gear?
I thought I was.
kind of fresh, right?
That's what I thought.
Have you had any conversations with Mr. Huey since this particular day that you're aware of?
I don't know what you mean.
Have you talked to him?
What you mean?
Have you had any conversations with him? In other words, do you...
After this?
Yeah.
I don't. You saying?
Had you talked?
After we took the picture?
After that particular day, had you talked to him about anything that you can think of that had anything to do with other than chilling?
What's wrong with us taking a picture?
I don't believe there's anything wrong. Do you even know why this picture was even put up in evidence?
I don't have a clue.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right.
Now, Huey attorney came in like the smooth operator, stern but to the point, and cleared his client. Now we have Shannon's attorney. Let's see if he can hit a home run out of the park. Let's get it.
Right?
There's no.
Okay, you call him not. And in that photograph, is that a fair and accurate representation of Donovan Thomas? That's a picture of him, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and is he wearing a chain in that photograph?
Look like it.
And that chain is in fact a peanut chain, correct?
I can't tell.
Well, okay, you're familiar with his chain, correct?
This is a peanut chain.
Thank you. Mr. Copeland, I'm asking you to look at DS30. Do you recognize the person on the right of that photograph?
On who right?
On your right.
Yeah.
That's Donovan Thomas, correct?
There's no.
Okay, you call him not. And in that photograph, is that a fair and accurate representation of Donovan Thomas? That's a picture of him, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and is he wearing a chain in that photograph?
Look like it.
And that chain is in fact a peanut chain, correct?
I can't tell.
Well, okay, you're familiar with his chain, correct?
This is a peanut chain.
Thank you. Hanging from Mr. Thomas's neck is essentially what the Planter's Peanut Man. It's a chain of the Planter's Peanut Man. And that is Donovan Thomas's chain, and that is a chain that he owned in 2015, correct?
I guess.
And he owned it in 2014 as well, correct?
Shit, I guess.
Okay. You are aware that in late 2014, Donovan Thomas's chain went missing, correct?
Right.
Someone stole it.
Is this what you want to call it?
Okay.
So, we never had a problem with that. Never in life. Okay. Never cool. Okay. We just had a problem with the kid. Yes. Describe kid to me. I know that, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to go to jail, I ain't trying to be dead, I ain't trying to go to nobody's phone, I ain't like none of these. Me and nothing ain't never had a problem. You know what I'm saying? Somebody, I will show it to you. A person come on my Instagram page and say, you're gonna die tonight. They come on my picture and say, oh, your Instagram? Yes. You're gonna die. And I didn't have nothing to do with it. I didn't kill him. I didn't have him killed. I ain't never tried to fight him. I ain't never tried to rob him. I ain't never done nothing to nothing.
In that January 11th interview, you stated to Detective Thorpe on 4 different occasions that you never had any problem with Nut, that you and Nut were okay, correct?
I'm listening.
Okay. You specifically said, I've never tried to fight him, I've never tried to rob him, I've never tried to do nothing to Nut.
Right.
Okay. Mr. Kokomo, and Your Honor, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask a couple questions first. Going to your January 28th, 2015 interview. Well, in general.
Let's just get to your question. You want to know, did I take the change?
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But in 2014, Donovan Thomas's chain went missing, was stolen out of his car, correct?
Right.
All right. To people in hip-hop, a chain is a very personal thing, correct?
I don't know.
You don't know that? Okay.
Somebody broke the neck up and gave me the phone and the jury. Because when I realized I took it, you know what I'm saying? What the hell? He nuts shit. But I called him nuts. Hey man, I got your shit right here, pull up on. He come pull up on. You know what I'm saying? Nut pull up. Him and Grease. Man, nut got each other. Like, bro, here, you start right here, you know what I'm saying? Right. He like, get it, bro. I ain't want to tell him one of the young niggas on the bill broke in the club.
Okay. In that story, you were saying that someone stole a chain from Nut, correct? The peanut chain.
Yeah.
And that person, and not only his chain, but his ID, his wallet, his phone, correct?
Right.
And that person happened to give you Donovan Thomas's belongings.
Right.
And you said, you told the police, you realized it was Donovan Thomas's chain. And you called Nut and wanted to return his stuff. Right? And specifically, right before we paused it, you said you didn't want to tell Donovan Thomas who took it. Right?
Right.
You wouldn't want to tell Donovan Thomas who took it because Donovan Thomas is what some people might say is the big homie. Right? He's a gang leader. You don't just take Donovan Thomas's chain and it's all cool, correct?
I don't know.
Well, that's why you wouldn't want to tell Donovan Thomas who took it, correct? You'd want to protect whoever took that chain. You wouldn't want Donovan Thomas gunning for that person for disrespecting his property, right?
Right.
One of my little partners broke in the car. Stole his chain, his phone, his ID, my driver's license. And I gave it to him. Like, you know, I got it. Man, it's nut shit, nigga. Yeah.
About your partner stealing from Donovan Thomas and then giving you the chain and the phone and the wallet and then you returning it back to Donovan Thomas, right? And you dapped him up and you and Donovan Thomas were all good, right? Okay. January 11th, 2015, you repeatedly said you had no problems with Donovan Thomas, right? January 28th, you talked about the chain. It was someone else that took it. You returned it to Donovan Thomas, wouldn't tell him who took it, but y'all were all good, right? February 21st, 2015, you again repeated that story about one of your partners taking the chain, it ending up in your hands. You returned it to Donovan Thomas, you dap him up, you're all good, right? Mr. Copeland, the reality is, late in 2014, you broke into Donovan Thomas's truck. Isn't that correct?
The door was open.
The reality is, you knew that was Donovan Thomas's truck. You know what he drove, right? You went into his truck and took his peanut chain, right? You knew it was Donovan Thomas's peanut chain, but you didn't care. You wanted to disrespect Donovan Thomas. You wanted to take his stuff. Isn't that correct?
It wasn't about disrespecting him.
The reality is, Mr. Copeland, that Donovan Thomas called his phone and you answered. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
The reality is, you knew that Donovan Thomas knew that you stole his stuff.
I ain't stupid.
Objection, speculation.
The reality is that you knew you bit off more than you could chew.
What you mean by that?
Donovan Thomas was coming after you.
Objection, speculation. Based on the evidence, relevance.
Sustained.
The reality is, you made up this whole story about returning his chain, about your partner breaking in, and all the rest to try to throw Donovan Thomas off of your scent. Correct? But Donovan Thomas knew.
Objection, speculation. Vague.
Sustained.
When you told Detective Thorpe on January 11th, 2015, that you ain't never have no problems with Donovan Thomas, that you and Nut were cool, you never brought up the chain, did you?
For what?
When you said you ain't never tried to rob him, you ain't done nothing to Donovan Thomas, you never brought up the chain, did you?
That ain't right.
You and Donovan Thomas were far from cool. TIG stands for Think It's a Game, correct? Ms. Copeland, TIG is Think It's a Game, correct?
You know it.
Okay. That's a record label?
I guess.
That's a record label that Donovan Thomas was associated with, correct?
I guess.
Run out of Summerhill
I don't know.
neighborhood in Atlanta. Mr. Bennett, also known as Lucci, wrapped under that label. Think It's a Game, correct?
I guess.
Okay. Think It's a Game had a studio on Metropolitan Avenue in Atlanta back in 2015, correct?
I guess.
Mr. Copeland, I'm going to ask you to look at DS31. Is that... Do you recognize DS31?
Yeah.
Okay. That is the building that housed TIG Studios back in 2015, correct?
I guess.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to ask that DS31 be put into evidence, be admitted as evidence.
All right, it's admitted.
That's the studio that Lucci went to make songs, correct?
I guess.
That's the studio that Donovan Thomas would be at, correct?
I guess.
That's the studio that Rich Homie Quan would be at, correct?
I guess.
Okay. You are aware that on January 8th, 2015, late at night on January 8th, 2015, the TIG studios were shot up, correct? You know that, right?
I'm listening.
You are aware that Rich Homie Quan's truck was struck by bullets on January 8th, 2015. His windshield was shot out, correct?
Shit, I don't know.
You're aware that Donovan Thomas was present at TIG Studios on January 8th, 2015. Isn't that true?
I don't hang up there.
So you shot my truck, bro. That side of the truck. Man, you been, you know what I mean? You been
You are talking to the police about Rich Homie Quan asking you if you shot up his truck, correct? In that interview.
That's what it just said.
Rich Homie Quan questioned you about whether you were the person that was out outside the TIG studio, shooting up in that studio on January 8th, 2015. Isn't that correct?
You can't question me.
Okay. Not talking about what you told the police. I'm talking about reality now. On January 6th, 2015, you were at Club Crucial.
I'm listening.
You were in possession of a large amount of money and you were showing off in front of a bunch of people that knew you, in front of a bunch of girls, correct?
I'm listening.
In front of all these people at this club, Kelvin Watts, Shell Kell, Donovan Thomas's brother, jumped you, correct?
I'm listening.
He tested you. He started punching you. He tried to take your stuff. He gave you a black eye.
He punched me in the back. He didn't hit me he didn't face me out.
Okay. Well, you had a swollen face.
Cause another nigga hit me.
Okay. Who was with Shell Kell?
What's up, bro?
He was with Shell Kell, the other person that hit you?
Obviously he went with me.
These men, Shell Kell and his friends, tested you publicly in front of a bunch of people, in front of a bunch of girls, correct? They tried to run your pockets, right?
I'm listening.
Pardon my language, it pissed you off.
Just like you is.
Okay. 2 days later, on January 8th, 2015, you found out that Nut and Rich Homie Quan were outside the TIG studios on Metropolitan Avenue, didn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You got in that rented Infiniti and drove up to that studio, didn't you?
Your Honor, objection assuming facts not in the evidence.
I'll allow it.
You took your gun with you. You stood outside the fence and you shot at TIG Studios. And you put a bullet in Rich Homie Quan's truck. Did you not?
You got proof?
Was Trevante with you when you went to the TIG Studios?
Do you got proof?
All right, we're going to change the subject, Mr. Copeland.
All right.
To your understanding, now you pled to the possession of a firearm case from 2021. You pled to that recently, or this year.
Say that again?
You pled to that case this year, correct? Earlier this year, the possession of firearm that you were interviewed about in October 27, 2021?
I don't know if it was this year or last year.
Okay, fair enough. To your understanding, you still have a pending matter in front of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, correct?
Shit, I ain't no telling. I don't know.
Well, you discussed it. You gave an interview with the Danza Project recently, right?
Right.
All right, and you discussed the pending matter where your understanding is you are charged with filing a false report.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. To your understanding, you're charged with false report of a crime and false statements, 2 felonies, correct?
Right.
And the allegation is that while you were at the Fulton County Jail,
Okay.
Your Honor, may I approach
You may.
DS27A and DS27B?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland, could you just look at those 2 documents? Do you recognize those documents?
I seen them before. Yeah.
Are those the arrest warrants taken out for you for false report of a crime and false statements that you believe are still pending against you.
Yeah.
Okay. And briefly, the allegation is that, well, Your Honor, I would move to admit DS-27A and DS-27B into evidence.
Yeah, we reject the admission of those exhibits. We asked the question of exhibits. Yeah, each of those exhibits.
They're admitted over objection.
Mr. Copeland, briefly, the allegations against you that you believe are pending are that you accused a jail worker or a deputy of spraying with OC spray at the jail, right? And the deputies, the supervisors, reviewed the videotape from the jail and determined that the jail worker did not have OC spray on her and did not spray you with any OC spray in the jail. Isn't that correct? Right? Did you know that the state, while this trial was going on, dismissed that case against you?
I didn't know that.
Well, I brought you good news. May I approach with 27C?
You may.
Does that document say State of Georgia versus Kenneth Copeland?
I think.
Okay. That document indicates. Can I approach?
You may.
Correct me if I'm wrong, does this document say the facts of this case have been reviewed, and although it appears that probable cause existed for the defendant's arrest, the decision of the district attorney at this time is not to prosecute the above named defendant? Is that what that says?
Yeah.
Okay. It says the reasons for this decision are as follows: prosecutorial discretion. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
the person whose name is on this document is Fonnie T. Willis, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That document does not indicate that your pending charges for false report of a crime and false statement, they don't indicate that those are dismissed forever, just for now, at this time, correct?
I guess.
Okay. And nothing in that document says we dismiss this case because we were wrong, Mr. Copeland's innocent. It said prosecutorial discretion, correct?
What did it mean?
Okay. It means they just made the decision to do it.
All right, that we can strike that part. Ask your next question.
Isn't it true? And you just found out that this was dismissed today. But isn't it true that while you were on the state's witness list to testify in this case, the state was simultaneously, at the same time, prosecuting you for false statements and false report of a crime? Isn't that true?
Talk to me so I can understand.
They were calling you a liar at the same time that they were asking this jury to believe what you're saying. Isn't that true?
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about your immunity agreement with the state. They told you in that June 10th, 2024 meeting that you did not ask for, that any crime that you talked about, they were not going to prosecute you for. Correct?
Yeah.
You can talk about shooting Rich Homie Kwan's dad's barbershop. You can talk about shooting Rich Homie Kwan's father. They're not going to prosecute you for those things, right? That's what they told you. That's the promise they made to you. Correct?
Characterization of the evidence.
Sustained.
Is that your understanding?
Nothing I say can be used against me.
Okay. There's one exception.
If I say that I did, yeah.
Okay. The Donovan Thomas thing.
Yes.
Mr. Copeland, you don't know any of these gentlemen back here to have a personal beef with Donovan Thomas, do you?
What you mean?
Back in 2015, you didn't know any of these gentlemen to have a personal beef with Donovan Thomas.
I never said I did.
Okay. The reality, Mr. Copeland, is you were the person who had a problem with Donovan Thomas. Isn't that correct? You were the one that broke into Donovan Thomas's car, correct?
So in facts, not in evidence.
Overruled.
You've admitted to it. You're the one that stole Donovan Thomas's chain, correct? Ms. Copeland, you're the one that shot up Donovan Thomas's friend, Rich Homie Kwan's father's barbershop in 2014, correct? You're the one that was going back and forth with Donovan Thomas's brother, Kelvin Watts, correct? You've called his brother a waste of space in October 2021, didn't you?
Mr. Copeland's not answering the question, so
Yeah,
these are the
apparently
response.
Mr. Sharp doesn't care whether he answers or not, so it's fine with me. If he wants an answer, he can say that.
You called Kelvin Watts a waste of space in October 2021, didn't you?
And I don't think nobody walking earth would not agree with it.
You said that people would cheer if he died. Correct?
I will. Back in the days.
You shot at Donovan Thomas's brother, Kelvin Watts, correct? You're the one who got jumped by Donovan Thomas's brother on January 6, 2015 at Club Crucial, correct? You, not any of these gentlemen. Right? And you're the one that shot up TIG Recording Studio on January 8th, 2015. Isn't that correct? Let me ask you something, Mr. Copeland. You were asked about the green store by Attorney Steele, right? The green store, you're familiar?
Yeah.
That's actually called Mommy's Grocery in Delhi on Glen Street, correct?
I guess.
Okay. You estimated that the driving time is 5 minutes. The truth is, to get from the green store to where Donovan Thomas was gunned down, you have to drive a couple hundred feet on Glen Street and take a right onto McDaniel, correct? That's how you get there. Right over the tracks. The truth is, it takes less than a minute to make that drive. Isn't that correct? So, in that interview on a different day, you're again talking about the shooting of the Rich Homie Kwan's father's barbershop. And of Rich Homie Kwan's father, correct?
I'm listening.
Okay. And again, what you just said on that tape was someone from Bankhead with some money paid someone to do it, right?
Right.
Okay. So in two separate interviews, you told detectives that someone from Bankhead with some money hired someone from Johnson Road to shoot up Rich Homie Kwan's barbershop. Rich Homie Kwan's father's barber, correct?
I'm listening.
Is that correct? You said that in two different interviews. Okay. Now, the reality, Mr. Copeland, is once you were given immunity as a witness in this case, you testified in court earlier when Ms. Hilton was asking questions that it was in fact you and Trevante Turner who shot up Rich Homie Kwan's barbershop, didn't you?
How many times gonna go over this?
You and Trevante Turner, in fact, shot up Rich Homie Kwan's barbershop. Correct?
I'm listening.
The reality, Mr. Copeland, is the 25K on someone's head was completely made up by you. Correct?
Right.
The reality is there's somebody from Bankhead with some money, those details. Somebody from Bankhead with money. That was completely made up. Correct?
Right.
The reality is someone from Johnson Road being hired, and you would recognize their name if you heard it. All that was made up on the spot, on the fly, in the mind of Kenneth Copeland, wasn't it?
Right.
That was you finessing. Just like Lil Mike and Quez were made up on the spot. The man from Bankhead with money, the man from Johnson Road were made up characters.
I done told y'all 100 times I don't lie. You sitting right here keep trying to throw it in my face. I don't admit it till I lied.
I'm not trying to throw it in your face, Mr. Copeland. I'm giving you an opportunity to come clean.
I thought I did that.
Okay. You spoke on a gang meeting that the Bloods had about you on that Thursday before Donovan Thomas was killed, correct? Mr. Kokomo, could you play DS-24?
I don't know his name. I got somebody, I don't know his name. He ill there. He called me tonight. Well, I forgot what day they got killed, but it was a Friday night. And no, it was Thursday night. They had a barbecue. The barbecue just about, it was blood. Everything bloody. And the whole meeting was based upon me. They was all in there talking about this and this, talking about this and this. So the nigga Mo was on the phone. So Mo told everybody, I need every last one of y'all, whoever 90s scraps here, whoever that other nickname, supposed to kill me. They gave all them guns. They saying they gave every last one of them guns. Said treat me to a gas station and kill me. I forgot what else. But he called and he told me everything he said. Is this person in front of yours?
The Bloods had a gang meeting on the Thursday before Donovan Thomas was killed, 2 days before, on the same day that you shot up TIG Studios. Isn't that correct?
I don't know what you're talking about.
In that statement to the police, you said that the whole meeting was based on me. Not them, on you. That Mo, from behind the wall, had put the green light on you. Not anyone else, he put the green light on you for what was going on with you. The guy who stole from Donovan Thomas. The guy who shot up the studio with Rich Homie Quan and Donovan Thomas in the studio that night.
Yeah, objection, I was assuming facts not in the evidence. And harassment of their witness. Overruled.
You've told the police at that meeting, Donovan Thomas went whoop, approved of the orders to kill you. You told the police that the gang members handed out guns to younger people. And the plan was to trick you to come to the gas station. And the only reason you were killed is because someone told you about it. In January 2015, Donovan Thomas was coming after you.
Extra speculation, again, assuming facts not in evidence.
Sustained.
Mr. Copeland, you're not the type of guy to back down, are you? No further questions.
All right. Okay.